the main reasons some Marvel fans have issues with Iron Man 3. A franchise as diverse and extensive as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is bound to incite disagreement among some fans, such as those who actually enjoy the not-too-popular Thor, The Dark World, or have expressed certain issues they have with the highly acclaimed Avengers Endgame. When it comes to Iron Man 3, however, few debates within the franchise have been so heated. Director Shane Black took over for the third installment headlined by Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, adding his own signature touches, for better or worse. I mean, as far as I can tell, no one has ever had a problem with Iron Man 3 being set around Christmas, but there are a vast number of other things that Black and co-writer Drew Pearce did with the story that had many fans questioning the future of their favorite Avenger and even the quality of the MCU as a whole. So, what exactly did certain audiences dislike about this threequel enough for the conversation to last more than 7 years after its release? Let's analyze the controversy a bit deeper with 5 example arguments that disgruntled comic book fans have made most frequently cited in opposition to Iron Man 3, starting with the claim that the title itself is a bit of a misnomer. There are some fans who, when attending a movie named after their favorite superhero, are more interested in seeing the superhero itself and not the person inside the suit. However, we can barely even relate that sentiment to Iron Man 3 as the movie sees Tony Stark actually spending very little time in his signature armor, even going as far as using mind control tech to pilot the suits remotely. Not to mention how the bulk of the film follows Stark struggling to rebuild his armor while stranded in Tennessee, an already familiar plotline, only for us to see him use it in a most cartoonish way in the final act. Counterpoint: disappointing fight sequences aside, the lack of Iron Man in Iron Man 3, and even the more absurd uses of the armor, do, at times, seem to be an intentional effort to convince audiences to take Tony Stark more seriously as a man, which you could argue was a success given how beloved he is, or had been, more accurately, without the armor sense. On the other hand, I do not recall much prior disdain toward the character without the armor anyway, and besides, did he not resort to bathroom humor while wearing it in Iron Man 2? Furthermore, Stark's use of remote-controlled suits is clearly a coping mechanism for his explicitly referenced anxiety, which actually brings up our next main complaint. Speaking of arguments, has Marvel ever faced a backlash of more incendiary value than from the twist of the Mandarin's true identity in? This iconic comic book villain, often cited as the Joker to Iron Man's Batman, is discovered to be no more than a washed-up, drug-addled actor named Trevor Slattery, Academy Award winner Ben Kingsley, who has been hired to keep up the facade that he is the true face of these devastating terrorist attacks. For many, this is the moment when Iron Man 3 completely craps the bed, not just as a poorly executed punchline to an already pointless burnout joke, but as a gross disservice to fans who had anticipated a worthy debut of one of their favorite antagonists. However, some saw the ending of Iron Man 3 as telling that maybe Marvel Studios did not have their heroes all the way figured out either. In hopes to please Pepper Potts, Tony Stark asked Jarvis, Paul Bettany, to initiate the clean slate protocol, causing every last one of his suits to self-destruct. That is until they all appear again, rebuilt and vastly upgraded, in Avengers: Age of Ultron 2 years later. Now, while this sounds a bit too much like a retrospective dig and not a justifiable of the film on its own, the fact that it is meant to be one chapter in an overarching story makes it feel incredibly out of place and a disservice to the continuity.
Okay, if you like this video, don't forget to click like button. See you in the next video.